Hunter's my heart. And Hunter's been through some tough times, but he's fighting. He's fighting. He's never given up. He's the most honorable, decent person I know.
It's not a surprise, and yet there is something unbelievably tragic about the trajectory of this case. Let's talk about the facts first. Not only is Hunter Biden someone who has very publicly struggled with addiction, but the way in which these charges came about was through the finding of the gun. 11 days after he purchased it, the gun was tossed by his then girlfriend and his sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, the widow of Beau Biden, in a trash can outside an upscale grocer in Wilmington. When Hunter Biden realized that that's where his gun had gone, he immediately took steps for it to be retrieved that ultimately led to the charges at issue here.
You have a president of the United States who is living embodiment of the rule of law, even with respect to his only living son.
There's not many countries in the world where the son or daughter of said country would get prosecuted in their judicial system. This is how different America is, and I do think that this is a really good day for the American system.
Joe Biden sat quietly and let the rule of law operate. The law applies to everybody, and it is fair.
The White House, Rachel, as we were on for the verdict, President Biden's statement first crossed. You were reading it on the air, making it very clear how the president plans to handle this deeply personal moment for the Biden family.
Yes, David, and the president is acknowledging tonight that his son Hunter Biden has battled addiction and has made it out on the other side, noting in his statement that it's something that many American families go through. The president has really tried to keep his distance from this case, but tonight he does say that he loves and supports his son Hunter, and also that he does ultimately respect the outcome of this verdict. It's a sharp contrast to his rival, former President Donald Trump, who continues to insist that the justice system is being weaponized against him, and it's a sign perhaps of what's still to come in this campaign.
Give me a break.
I completely agree with Judge Jeanine. Give me a break too. I hope you are now realizing that the entire Hunter Biden trial was nothing but a diversion. I really hope you do, because that's all it was. If you watch my videos, you know I always say I wait 24 hours to see how the dust settles. And what I've seen since the verdict was reached is nothing but complete theater. How pathetic is the libnut media? They covered for Hunter like he was some wayward college kid. Hunter is a 54-year-old grown-ass man. But as you heard, the media is doing their best to cover for Hunter and his daddy, Dementia Joe. As soon as I heard the media begin comparing Trump's trial in New York with Hunter's trial, I knew it was all BS. And other people recognized it as well.
So Hunter Biden was convicted. Big freaking deal. This trial was a sham. Just like the Trump trial, it was a sham, but a sham for a different reason. It's a sham designed to legitimize the Trump conviction. That's why it came right after, even for charges that date way far back. But it also avoids accountability for the Biden crime family on the actual things that Hunter Biden should have been charged for. Like, for example, peddling foreign influence while his actual father, Joe Biden, was the vice president of the United States. Hunter had no business serving on the board of a Ukrainian energy company, a state-affiliated energy company that's affiliated with the same country, Ukraine, that his father, now as the U.S. president, is sending hundreds of billions of dollars of your taxpayer money to. That's where the real crimes lie. So this deflects accountability for the actual investigations that are more close to implicating Joe Biden, while coming in convenient timing right after the sham Trump conviction in the veil of bipartisanship. Don't buy it. I said this before, I'll say it again. This is a smoke screen, and the reality is you got to cut through it to get to the essence of what's happening in this country.
Vivek is 100% right. By now, you should realize as well that none of the other crimes of the Biden family are even being talked about. As you also know, we had 51 so-called intelligence agents telling us that the laptop was fake. We had a major American newspaper banned from Twitter for even daring to report about the laptop. Literally thousands of people I know personally, were booted off social media all over the place for even talking about the Hunter Biden laptop. And now, as is the case with most of the stuff that the Democrats do, they know how to play the calendar. They know how long it takes for things to be found out. Well, now we know the laptop was 100% real. It was 100% authentic. it wasn't disinformation. And also, that other thing, that diary, is also authentic and true. And somehow, with all of this evidence, a laptop and a diary, Dementia Joe is still somehow considered a candidate for re-election. So like Judge Jeanine said, spare me the BS about the Hunter Biden trial. Think about this long and hard. Everyone, and I do mean just about everyone in the media, and also everyone in government, they all now know without any equivocation that all of the information on Hunter Biden's laptop is real and authentic. So why are none of them talking about the rest of the content on that laptop? Many of us have seen the contents on that laptop. Many of us have known about it and talked about it for years. So why is no one in the media and in government even discussing this information? And remember, the DOJ and the FBI both have had it for years. Not a word. That's why I'm convinced that this trial, this Hunter Biden trial, was nothing but a smokescreen.
To me, it just seems like, well, this was like maybe a fraction of the crimes that were on the laptop.
I mean, this is so disingenuous, Richard. Give me a break. It was the Biden White House, the Biden Department of Justice that had this case from 2018, allowed the statute of limitations to run. So
2018. That is 6 years that this case on Hunter Biden has been basically pending. They tried to bury it, but somehow it got unearthed by this judge, this great judge who looked at this stuff and said, no, you're not going to get this sweetheart deal.
Well, Hunter Biden could not be accountable for the worst tax violations and the worst tax crimes that were connected to when his father was the vice president and when he was getting money from all over the world that then is funneled to everybody who was sitting in the front seat of that courtroom. You want?
That's the funniest thing. Almost every person who was in the front row of that court were beneficiaries of the money that Hunter somehow extracted from all these foreign countries.
Why they're so unified? Because that's where the cash came in. That's where the LLC was. So don't give me this, the justice system worked. If it weren't for Judge Noriega saying, give me precedent, give me some idea of why someone should be given immunity in perpetuity.
In case you don't remember, and she just brought up, the original basically deal that they had struck with Hunter was to give him immunity forever, in perpetuity, forever. For any crimes you've ever committed, we're going to give you immunity from. And it wasn't for the diligence of a judge to go, what are you talking about? I can't give this guy immunity from all crimes in the past and all crimes in the future. What the hell are you talking about? Who would get that kind of deal? Nobody.
Ad infinitum, because his name is Hunter Biden, and the DOJ said, no, we can't. We've never done it before. So let's not be so holier than thou and saying the system works. No, but for this judge, this guy would have been skating. He's skated every year of his life. And this is the first time justice has been visited upon him. And because of him, the Americans in this country have lost faith in the criminal justice system because of the Democrats and their policies and the social justice nonsense. So spare me the system works now.
Yeah. Spare me too. I don't want to hear it. All of us should have righteous anger over everything that the Biden family has done for years. And now the media is working extremely hard to gaslight all of us. This trial, it means absolutely nothing. I don't care about Hunter Biden. Do you? Why should you? Doesn't really matter. It's the laptop everybody should be focusing on. That is the evidence of the big crimes that have been committed. Understand that Hunter is never going to see the inside of a jail cell. And I don't really care if he does or not. Of course, Joe is going to pardon him on his way out the door. He can say whatever he wants now because it's pre-election. When Trump beats his butt, then he'll go ahead on his way out the door and say, yeah, I'm going to pardon Hunter Biden. Expect it. It's coming. But you have to realize that this entire trial was nothing but a dog and pony show. It was a complete sham. It should insult your intelligence.
Will this judge sentence Hunter Biden to prison?
Well, there are those who think that the sentencing guidelines, which are no longer mandatory, can call for between 15 and 21 months. And of course, if the judge wants to do a downward departure, she can do so, but she's got to give a reason to do so. I don't know that she would be inclined to do so, given a couple of things. Hunter Biden could have pled guilty, took responsibility and admitted remorse. This judge also was a judge who was the one who first saw through the fact that the Hunter Biden team and the Department of Justice was trying to pull the wool over her eyes and create this immunity in perpetuity so that Hunter Biden would never be prosecuted for a crime for the rest of his life.
I won't never be prosecuted for a crime the rest of his life. I've never heard anybody getting that kind of a deal.
One of those deals.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Right.
And then in addition to that, the nullification argument. I mean, the defense that went on in this courtroom just defied any kind of reason, and it was really an insult to the jury that saw right through it.
If you're an addict, you're an addict. Right. This is something that sticks with you.
So these two guys you're going to hear talk are both from the jury. So this first guy goes, he's an addict, he's an addict. You're always going to be an addict.
For the rest of your life.
So you didn't buy the notion that for those few days around the purchase of the gun, he wasn't abusing drugs?
No, not at all.
Juror number 8, Elijah.
I love this guy. And it's funny to me that this guy from, I think it's ABC News, completely doxes this guy. Hey, it's jury number 8, Fred Jones.
Lewis Guy agrees.
For you as juror, what was the most important evidence for you?
The important evidence was the form, what he put down in the form at that moment, and knowing his history, that he was a user addict.
And as for the historic nature of this trial,
you do know that you convicted the president's son.
So? I thought no one was above the law. Why did you have to remind this guy that he convicted, quote, the president's son? Should that have mattered in his deliberation? So why would it matter after the deliberation? But unfortunately for this guy at ABC, unfortunately this gaslight media, he's going to get an answer that I'm sure he wasn't prepared for.
How do you feel about it?
I don't care.
You know it's the president's son, right? I don't care. Ouch. That must have hurt. That really must have hurt that libnut media talking head to actually hear this guy look him in the face and go, I don't care. I wish there were more people like that. Comparison between the Trump trial, where they had to basically try to create charges, and then the trial of this perverse drug addict are absurd. They should not be compared whatsoever.
Greg, the system has been covering up for this guy for decades.
Well, I mean, Hunter's charges, whether you like them or not, are real. Right. You know, right. There's plenty to choose from. But what about Trump's charges? You had to meticulously fashion and create them. And everybody admitted at the time, this is unprecedented, a first of its kind, never been done before. And they're doing it for a president who's is the leading candidate in the election. Not only is that corrupt, it's election interference. So this is not about equal justice. It's quite lopsided. So I'm like the judge. Screw these sanctimonious phonies. These were the same lying D-bags who claimed the laptop was fake. So if their false narrative had prevailed, which they wanted, there wouldn't have been this verdict at all. And they now claim proof of equal justice. So this verdict didn't come down because of you. It happened in spite of you. This guy got away with a lot for a long time, and it only stopped because there was just too much to ignore.
And right now, they are hoping that all of you forget all about Hunter Biden's laptop. It's going to be memory hold forever. You will never hear it mentioned again, even though the laptop has been confirmed as being real and authentic. They are now going to put that diary and that laptop under lock and key, never to be heard from again, to protect Dementia Joe.
You've got all kinds of evidence. You've got a laptop that the Biden administration and everybody in so-called intelligence said was fake. That whole, the Biden family stood there and sat there in the front row with this united front. You know, we love Hunter, and every one of them has been negatively impacted by Hunter Biden being a crack addict and getting a gun. Yeah. But in addition to that, everyone as part of that united front was getting money from what you call the crime family from all over the world. Everyone got some money from an LLC. So that family is not what they appear to be.
None of this matters. The only way that the Biden family and any of their corrupt partners meets with any justice is if Trump wins. There is no chance that Merrick Garland and the DOJ will ever bring charges against Dementia Joe. There is no way that Christopher Wray and the FBI will ever bring charges against Dementia Joe. So basically, it's over unless Trump wins. That's why they're running all over the media talking about Trump wanting to take revenge on everybody.
I have a lot of conversations with former colleagues, people who are or were in the intelligence and law enforcement community and may have worked in, the Obama administration, other places. And, people are really trying to assess, what is life going to be like if Donald Trump wins a second term? And on a very personal level, these are torturous discussions with their family members about whether or not they have to leave the country to avoid being unconstitutionally and illegally detained.
Donald Trump, who wants to put them before firing squads, basically. He wants to put them all in jail. He's unbelievable the way he talks about his opponents. I'm telling you, Trump could end up rolling the score. I've got the Congress. I've got the Supreme Court. I own it all. I am a dictator.
But listen to this. I have to tell you, they shouldn't be worrying about Trump's revenge. They should be worried about yours. They have done some evil and heinous crimes on Americans over the last couple years. And on November 5th, you get to decide the verdict. And before you do so, think hard. Remember how they treated Trump. Remember how they treated your job and your business. Remember how they made many of our friends and family die alone in hospital. Remember when they forced you to be basically a lab rat and experiment on you. And then remember how they did everything to silence you when you had something to say about any of that. Never forget. Never, ever forget. Hey, listen, the big debate between Dementia Joe and Trump is scheduled for June 27th, if it happens. And I'll be broadcasting it live, and I want you to join me. If you've watched any of my live broadcasts, you know we have a ton of fun. 300,000 people tuned in to see my live broadcast of the Las Vegas rally, and I gave away a fabulous trip. So be sure to join me for the big debate. It will be undoubtedly a lot of fun, and who knows, you might win something. Just click here to register to be notified as soon as I go live. Thanks, and talk to you soon. Hope to see you at the debate.